week's episode of One Piece, Luffy and Law get into an epic battle with the ooey gooey treble and the sadistic string man, Doflamingo. Sometimes simple is best, especially in a series like One Piece, and this week's episode definitely played to its strengths, which are its creative action scenes, which are brimming with energy. The battle with Doflamingo and Treble is friggin' awesome, and definitely one of the most legendary fights that I've seen from the series thus far, and it's just getting started. This is just the beginning of the battle. I cannot wait to see what they're going to do with some of the later parts, but this one is basically a big battle and a segue all into the backstory about Doflamingo and Trafalgar Law. The big highlight of this week's episode, of course, is getting to see Luffy fight against Doflamingo and his creepy clones. And what I really love about the anime version, as opposed to the manga version of the series, is in the manga, the clones of Doflamingo just look like him. Just normal, just black and white. Whereas in the anime version, they have this weird, creepy pink aura, and they make it look really intimidating, or about as intimidating as pink can be. It's also worth mentioning that the animation during these fight scenes look really freaking good, damn near movie quality, and it's definitely one of the better battles that we've seen from Luffy from this entire arc. Just the way he's constantly jumping around, using Gear Third in his hockey abilities, dodging and getting hit by Doflamingo's attacks. Trafalgar Law's surgical skills are also amazing in this week's episode. When he was fighting against Treble and he cut him into all those pieces, Treble tries to come back, but because of Trafalgar Law's skills and the special ability that he used, he's not going to actually be able to bring his body back together for a couple of minutes, and this is going to give him the perfect opportunity to kill him when Doflamingo just jumps in out of nowhere and freaking attacks him from behind with these stabbing strings, which go right through his body, showing again that he can pretty much come from nowhere and use some crazy ability with his string. There's a scene where he knocks Luffy like halfway across Dressrosa Kingdom, and then as he's coming back, he wraps him up in string and pulls him right towards Bellamy, and then Bellamy cuts him. It's a crazy, ridiculous sequence, which is really amazing, and you could tell that the animators were having a lot of fun with animating all of this. It just looked badass. The end of the episode ends with what seems like Doflamingo being victorious in recounting his past and his family, how he killed his father because they left their noble bloodline, and Doflamingo has been sort of trying to uphold his noble birthright, although things keep getting in the way, like Trafalgar Law and Luffy, so he's going to try and put an end to that to be continued screen, and that's the end of this one. What's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? Just badass action. You know, I really can't dress it up any nicer than that. The action and the animation in this week's episode was high energy, really fluid, and featured some great hand-to-hand combat and cool abilities. Luffy was super mega pissed off, and when he gets that way, you know he is serious. Trafalgar Law was awesome, fighting against Treble, going up against Doflamingo. Doflamingo was creepy and amazing this week, and I'm not even talking about the scene with King Riku, where he literally creates a tornado and knocks out all of these weird pirates, one of which has a frickin' pig nose. They're all trying to catch Usopp and kill all of them for the prize money, and then they realize, no, maybe we should take a step back, pump the brakes, and realize maybe we shouldn't kill the king that's been supporting us this entire time. Our minds have been warped by the evil of Doflamingo. This week's episode was just freaking insane, and it was very well paced. Throughout the entire thing, I was like, man, this is just getting better and better and better, and then boom! To be continued screen. And of course, a lot of that does have to do with the fact that there's always like a 5-minute recap at the beginning, but that's just the way One Piece is, because we're just so freaking close to the manga at this point, and they've been doing the animation and the action scenes lately justice. You know, at the end of last week's episode, we had that amazing Red Hawk. It was kicked up to 11 in this week's episode with all the action scenes, and when they finally got back to Luffy after like that midway point, it just kicked off full gear, freaking awesome. That's all I have to say about this one. It was just a badass action episode. Check it out, One Piece fans, although let's face it, you probably already watched this one, and if you haven't, you should definitely check it out. So, One Piece fans, you reading the manga? Check it out. One Piece fans, you watching the anime? Check this one out. It was pretty freaking awesome, and it's just the beginning of an amazingly epic battle between Luffy and Doflamingo. I'm giving this week's episode a 5 out of 5. It was awesome. I didn't even mention the Fujitora stuff. Check it out for yourself. It was great. So clearly I liked this week's episode, but what about you guys? Did you like this week's episode? Did you hate it? Did you have a favorite moment, a favorite action scene? What do you hope to see from the rest of the Dressrosa arc? Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you for watching my review. Make sure to like it, share it with all your friends, and subscribe to the channel, and make sure to follow us on social media. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, Stay dandy, baby!